It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got a video suggested by one of you guys in Discord community. Shout out to Delta for suggesting this MintSkull video titled Vigil Nerfed. For more info, Dev July stream summary. Now, you and I both know that I was not about to watch that stream, and I'm pretty sure most of you haven't seen it either. I wouldn't blame you. It's behavior we're talking about. So, thankfully we have people like MintSkull that are willing to, you know, trudge through the trenches of the slop and be able to actually give us a summary of what it is, and I'll give my thoughts on it. Obviously the original is linked in the description. I'm only going to be covering like changes mainly. So let's go ahead and actually just dive in and just see like what is being changed here. It says some chapter balancing choices, so let's see what that means.
Confirm that new chapters that come with content, such as new survivors or new killers, will not come with live balancing changes, as according to them, they don't get the proper feedback, which is what I assume attributed to the gigantic Krasu patch. Instead, the devs...
You would think that's beyond obvious for these devs that like you would think, duh, like, you know, you wouldn't get any feedback considering the mere fact that everyone's obsessed with the new content and there's a bunch of new people joining the game or trying to play the new content. They're not trying to give you feedback. Duh.
Will focus
Idiotic.
on emergency changes, like how blatantly overpowered was Fast Track, or adding very small changes, not intended to shake up the meta, which is really sad to hear. Now, in mid-chapters,
to be fair to what MintSkull is saying, they have never switched up the meta. They haven't for years. Like Sprint Burst with Vigil, or even like Finesse and Dramaturgy and all this kind of shit. The only thing that changes for meta is just making shit meta on Survivor even stronger every single time. They're not interested in trying to make anything unique or different for Killer. They just don't. They keep dropping perks that are ass, or they're useless on release, and it's like, what are we doing? Honestly, their design philosophy makes no sense in any sense of the word. It doesn't. What they should be trying to do is, I keep saying, they have to pick a vision, pick a side. Or do you want a party game, or do you want a balanced experience that people can log into and actually try to have like a multiplayer balanced fun game? Like, there's a difference, because a party game, you can kind of get away with the bullshit because it's supposed to be fun, right? So that's why like Jason, Friday the 13th, that type of thing, could just one shot you with one grab, right? Like, one shot, boom, you're dead. Hey, that's a party game. Like, that's how it goes. But you can't have both. Like, there's no comp Friday the 13th. There was no comp. There's not going to be a comp Halloween tournament. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not things that are going to happen. You have to pick a freaking side. And the thing is that they're not. They're trying to double dip in both sides to try to see if like they can get the most bread. And the problem is that's what makes the game such a piece of shit. And that's why there's such a divide within the community. It lacks
they will
clear
be done
vision.
on a bigger scale, focusing on killer and perk changes, and intended to make a bigger impact on...
Notice how it doesn't say survivor perk balance either. It just specifically says primarily killer. Like, that's all they ever say, right? That's the only thing they care about.
the meta.
It's making sure that killers can stay shitty, weak, and pointless, and continue to be the party clown for the birthday party. They're not interested in trying to give you a good game, especially if you decide to play killer.
As well as focusing on specific playstyles like healing, tunneling, gen rushing, or slugging. In short, we are getting less changes overall, but hopefully the mid chapters are juicier. A thing that does scare me is that they specified that by meta, they don't mean the best, they mean the most used. So this means...
So that is another, once again, a piece of shit design flaw from Behaviour. Because that's exactly the reason why killer perks have been constantly gutted every other update, right? Because when you think about it, killers are gravitating to perks that they're going to need to use in order to try to be able to perform at least at the same level as the swifts that they're facing, the same level as the bullshit that they're encountering, you name it, they're trying to keep up. That's why slowdown is used so often, and that's why slowdown kept getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. Yet stuff on Survivor consistently has been spammed and used every other match, and they actively refuse to do anything about it. They refuse to change anything about Survivor because Sprint Burst has been ridiculous for 10 years. Vigil has consistently rose up to the top, hasn't been adjusted. Every other exhaustion needs to be changed. Like, they make these exhaustion perks mindless. Like, why are we not having strategy be implemented into Chase? That doesn't make any sense. Yet somehow the killer constantly has to be strategizing, trying to min-max their stuff, trying to make sure they're in the right spot with the right pathing, with the right perk on, with the right ability use, and not collide with this thing and not collide with that thing and deal with collision and trying to micromanage everything. And it's like, get Survivor is Shift W, you press the space bar, and then you spend most of your time either holding right click and pressing some space bar. Like, what are we doing, dude? Make the game equalize in that sense, where the amount of effort is the same. It should not take me 10 entire steps to get one perk effect, while Survivor will walk in with no prerequisite or unlock or recharge or token or anything. Just have these crazy bonuses that apply to everything. And you guys know exactly what perks I'm talking about. There's so many perks that they have that are constantly spammed, haven't been touched. Windows is a perfect example of that. With the overabundance of palettes combined with Windows, I mean, how do they ever go down anymore? Like, there's no excuse anymore for going down in a chase at this point, unless it's either A, the killer did a good job, or B, including they're using their power, stuff like that, or B, you're just bad at the goddamn. Like, they're at this point, like, there's so many resources everywhere on these maps. What excuse do you have for losing at this point? Like, it really is ridiculous.
They might take ages before nerfing perks like Shoulder the Burden or Dissolution, as they are not widely used, at least yet. With that said, perks will be slightly changed in the next chapter, which is going to be the Grimoire one. And while we don't know the details of all perks, we know more or less a bit of how they are changed. So let's start with the buffs, which are 3 killer perks and 6 survivor perks. Call of Brine is...
So what the correct number should have been was buffing 6 killer perks, nerfing 6 survivor perks. That should have been the correct number. We should have had, we should not be having 3 killer perk buffs and then 6 buffs to survive. Like, what are we doing, dude? Nerf more survivor perks, dude. Killer perks, most of them are pointless because you have to synergize them with what? 2 other slots when you only have 4. What are we doing? Also, mind you, they're trying to buff Call of Brine off the rip. Why was Call of Brine ever touched? They already nerfed Call of Brine twice. I don't know why they felt like, oh man, we better reduce it even more. Like mind you, the regression is 50%. On release, I believe it was at least 150. Increasing the oh my god. Increasing the amount of seconds it applies to a fucking gen is still not going to make it better. You already reduced the regression all the way down from 150, or however much it was, to, what is it, 50% regression? That can be instantly countered by, oh, I don't know, touching the gen for 5 seconds? Come on, bro.
Getting a small buff from 60 seconds to...
Why is it a small buff? That's my problem. The perk is never used. Like, no one's like clamoring to get on killer to use Call of Brine. Oh my god, can't wait to put that perk on. Like there's nothing, there's no value in it. It doesn't make any sense.
90 seconds of being active. Save the best for last is getting a buff which was not specified. And Nurse's Calling...
I'm shocked. Save the best for last getting a buff is a shock. Because they were obsessed with destroying that perk all the way back when they decided that you can't use your M2 on the obsession to prevent you from losing your stacks. Then they wanted to nerf it again, I believe, with now that, like, with the fact that a ranged killer like Deathslinger loses 2 stacks for, mind you, not even landing a hit, landing his harpoon into the chest of an obsession, loses 2 stacks. And if you decide to either break the chain or you decide to M1 them, you're losing 4 entire stacks for just landing a hit. Not even 2. Just landing your ability. And then Trickster was worse. You just throw your blades. It just tickles them. And it's like you lose 2 every single time. What are we on, dude? And you know this is never gonna go through, by the way. Like, the whole nurses calling, working on Slug Survivor. No, it won't. No, it won't. You know for a flying fact they will retract that next patch. Like, the patch after this one.
Work once again on slugged survivors. These perks will probably not change anything and are very small buffs overall. For survivors, Apocalyptic Ingenuity, I assume, will take less searches to activate and create pallets faster.
Of course they would do that.
Adrenaline is getting a buff to 4 seconds from 3.
Why does Adrenaline need a buff? Why does Adrenaline need a buff? You already get haste and a free health state by literally doing nothing. It's haste and a free health state. Hands free, you don't need to do anything, because you can either, it's not even saying like, oh, you have to finish yourself, you have to finish the final gen. No, if anyone finishes that final gen for whatever reason, you automatically get a free health state and haste. Why? Like, why does it need 4 seconds? Like, what? It's such a, like, it's unnecessary. Like, there's perks that need changes to be better that they don't look at. Like, why are we worried about Adrenaline?
Which is still less than the original Adrenaline. Clean Break and Moment of Glory, I assume, will last less in Broken. Repressed Alliance is made to last longer, which is high-key a nerf to the perk, as making it shorter would significantly buff it, and Technician was...
It may, like, I kind of understand what MintSkull is saying, like, it lasts longer, but the problem then becomes it's a nerf for you using the perk, but then it directly buffs it against the killer by the fact that you can't interact with the gen. So if the gen is 99 for whatever reason, they can pop it on that and basically have more time to finish multiple gens. So still not a great change. It's actually kind of a bad change. Yeah, because mind you, say a gen is 99 and you want to apply some kind of gen regression to it, it's blocked, so it's immune to any form of damage, like kicking and surge, pain res, like all of that is you can't damage it because it's shielded from it because it's blocked. So it's still a buff at the end of the day.
Wasn't specified. Now on the topic of nerfs, we have 3 killer perks and 3 survivor perks, and this part is juicy. Nowhere to Hide is getting a range nerf from 20.
Wow. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. They come after every killer perk, dog. In what scenario is Nowhere to Hide needing to be on the chopping block? Like, I just don't understand, bro. I don't get it, man.
24 meters to 18 meters, which was done because the perk is one of the most used in the game and also works really well with killers that have high mobility.
But that right there, what MintSkull is talking about, is the problem. They're not looking at the perk because of its balance and what it applies to the game, how it affects matches. They're looking at the perk as, oh, it's picked a lot. Oh, let's lower it, get out of here. We can't let them use that. I'm like what? the funny part is that if you're trying to balance the game around like perk variety, right? Like you're trying to lean into, okay, let's open up the game to have perk variety, which they never will, because the only useful perks on killer are gen regression until, and potentially some chase perks, until they decide to lower the gen speed stupidity and apply some base kit slowdowns into the base game for all killers, so that there can be more chase focus and be more interactivity instead of being on the gen all day. But that's why this perk gets punched in the stomach. Makes no sense.
So the S tiers and A tiers. Coulrophobia is getting a fat nerf from 50% kill.
Of course, Coulrophobia is getting a nerf because it was popularly used in combination with the slugging, like the slugging strategy. It's pretty common. I've even used it. You guys who have seen me when I used to play Billy, and used to play the game in general, I was using this perk with Billy because the Victorious helps kind of, which I didn't really notice much of a difference. They would pick up an insta heal anyway, regardless of this like slowdown on healing. It really did nothing, but maybe it did, but I didn't notice a difference.
To 30%, and this was done specifically to combat slugging builds, because they are...
Of course they're trying to combat slugging builds, because instead of fixing the reason why the slugging happens, they're more obsessed with trying to finish babying and spoon feeding the fucking survivors, instead of actually figuring out why the slugging occurs in the goddamn first place. Makes no sense.
Being used very aggressively by strong killers. And finally, Hex, Thrill of the Hunt, is getting a small nerf from 12 per stack to 10%.
If this change right here perfectly encapsulates the balance philosophy around behavior and their infinite wisdom, because for some unknown reason we're trying to nerf totem defense perks when totems are already ass. And I know there's gonna be some people in the comments, because they've done it before, oh, I use totems all the time and it's so good, and it's like, that's great that it works for you, but for the rest of us that actually go against competent players, they already know the locations of these spawns. Like, even when I was playing Survivor, I already knew the locations of where they would spawn. I would periodically check around, especially if I saw the symbol on the screen. I would just look at it and go, okay, well, I know one spawns there, one goes here, so I'll just rotate real quick and just take a look and be like, all right, found it. And 9 times out of 10, they'll spawn your totem in the middle of the open. The reason that it's still active is probably because the people you are going against don't have any experience going against any totems in the first place. Unfortunately, for those of us who do go against people with actual experience with this game, we are unable to use these perks at all, because they are gone within the first minute of the match, or even if you're extra lucky, it's destroyed in less than 10 or even 20 seconds of the game starting because of the bad spawns. So you pretty much are walking around with less than half your perks, and you only have 4. So it really just brings out a lot of your variety when playing a killer, which is really great. You just gotta love to see it. Woo! Love having to use the same fucking perks all day because I can't use anything else. Because your totems are just pointless.
So it's going back to how it worked in the past. On the Survivor side, a huge nerf, as now it will only last 2 seconds instead of 3, making it the shortest distance gained exhaustion perk.
Oh man, I never thought I'd hear the day where this broken ass perk is finally going to be dropped, bro. It feels like I'm hearing like the light from above or something, man. Like, we're finally getting some fucking changes to that broken perk. It's amazing. But knowing behavior, they're probably gonna listen to the crybabies and they'll buff it again. So let's not celebrate just yet. We have to still wait and see. Do they go through with the change? Do they leave the change as is? Are they gonna keep listening to the bitching and crying from the baby survivors that want to spam Shift W all day long? We have to listen. We have to try to keep our ear to the ground and just wait it out.
It will still be awesome, and it will still probably be the top exhaustion perk, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Vigil is getting a small nerf, from 66% recovery back to 40%, which was 10% more than before the buff.
So my next question is, why not just revert it entirely to 30% or less? Like, I understand, like, it's a nerf, like, and okay, cool, but, like, still, it's still going to be meta. It's still going to be strong. Like, 40 is still very high. What I have said before was, with Vigil, when I've talked about Vigil in the past, which, if you're curious, that video is on the channel, where I talked about why Vigil needs to be nerfed. My suggestion was, why not make it so it's a team-focused perk? Instead of it applying to yourself, only have it applied to others. So that if you are, say, trying to heal somebody and they have like sloppy or something applied to them, you can have the perk equipped. It's supposed to be purely altruistic, where you decide to reduce the status effects of others, so you have to work together, so you can then heal them better and do this better or whatever, and help them succeed in whatever it may be. Because if a single person is rocking Vigil and it applies to yourself and others, you're just only making it even harder for most characters in the roster to keep up, and it gives them a lot less of any perk variety, which is another problem.
Finally, it will still be an incredibly good perk, but I am so glad that the devs finally decided to lock in and change this perk, and Deliverance is the final perk that will get a nerf. And while I am very happy because this is one of my most hated perks in the game, the nerf is just an extended time of being punished to 2 minutes. Thing is, the effect of the perk is still very good and still stacks well with Vigil, only it's going to be the weakest it's ever been.
It should be weak, because then maybe that'll incentivize like them to stop using that broken ass perk. That's the one thing that may come in handy if they can try to bring that down. There's also some miscellaneous changes. We're gonna cover that as well, but let's go ahead and listen in on this. But the problem with Deliverance in general is the fact that you can just eliminate a bunch of pressure, and it's still going to be broken, especially with the basekit endurance, with the basekit haste, and all that kind of stuff. So people were able to fly out the gate just by popping Deliverance out of their ass, and all of a sudden they're out the door. You're like, well, me hooking was so fucking pointless. Like, so that's the thing. Now, if they were to start adding better actual incentives, because they don't have any incentives for hooking. If they were to offer an actual incentive, like, hey, you actually get some fucking haste, like you actually get, like, you know, even permanent haste if you want, like, make it something that people can actually use. Like, give it like, if you want to make it varied, where it's like certain killers can have certain bonuses, do it that way. Like, just give it something. Because people, like, we need something to keep the hook. Like, you want to make people to hook instead of slugging, you gotta give people something to go for. Like, there has to be something that people can go and get, so that they want to make that decision.
Mentioned in this stream were 2 changes coming at some point in the future. With the first one being a nerf
is not a good sign.
Basekit endurance, going finally down to 10 seconds from 15. However, now survivors will get the elusive status effect for that duration.
Okay. Alright, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I like the fact that they're reducing the whole 15 to 10 seconds thing again. That I can appreciate. The problem is, who knows when that'll come out. And honestly, with Behavior's track record, I'm not gonna hold my breath. I mean, it doesn't, like, and I know there's gonna be people using it as a talking point. Oh, but you know, it's gonna be reduced to 10 seconds. They said it would. And it's like, yeah, but it's not in the game yet. Like, and yeah, but are they gonna revert that again? Or yeah, but watch them make elusive broken. Or yeah, but watch them add something else to it. Like, you know, it's always going to be something. There's never a good change with DBD and behavior. There's always a fine print thing that's going to be added to it that will still find a way to screw you over as a killer player. That's just how it is. That's what we've been seeing since as long as these changes have been coming through, that are constantly hand-holding the survivor side. It just continues to keep going and adding. We keep seeing this.
And in the end game, the elusive will be deactivated. The devs confirmed that the 15 seconds were too safe for survivors. As much as I think elusive is an absolutely insane effect, I think if the devs want to prevent hard tunneling, then this is a pretty good compromise with the objective of making aggressive body blocks happen less. and giving survivors a chance to escape. The final miscellaneous change is related to MMR, with the only spoiler being that wins will no longer depend purely on kills, and we will know more in the community stream that they will do in August, so stay tuned.
That's not a bad, it's not a bad concept. That's not a bad idea. If MMR is affected by your performance, which I mean, I wouldn't even understand. Like I don't even know how to try to wrap my head around it, because it's like the entire job is to kill, right? So they're trying to find a way around, which is another statement in itself, the fact that killers aren't even allowed to kill at this point. But regardless, if they're basing it around performance, like what is the performance that they're looking for? What is the threshold that they're trying to reach in order for you to say, okay, that's going to raise your MMR or not? Now with MMR changes like that, that completely will shatter the high MMR slop, like that, like content that people say, because there's a lot of people that LARP and say that they're high MMR, ooh, but they're really not. There's a lot of people that do that, and slowly people have been opening their eyes to it, and there's a lot of people that that I've even spoken to that have also mentioned that they've seen creators that their entire thing is literally saying that they're high MMR and they're high level and all of it is, but they never actually are, because if you actually were to put the time in, analyze, and look at the survivors, which a lot of people are, I get it, they're low MMR themselves, so they can't even tell you what high MMR looks like because they've never faced high MMR players. But I can say with confidence that because I have gone like through the trenches, especially with one of the weakest killers in the game, and actually have been facing competent players for as long as I have. Obviously now I don't play the game anymore due to that fact as well, because it's such a stressful pain in the ass. I can say with confidence, I can point out like certain things that you can notice, and you're like, yeah, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And that ties into the whole game balancing as a whole and everything like that. I think that they are going in the wrong direction as it is, but that's besides the entire point. We need to see what the performance is going to be for that. We need to see what happens, obviously, but I'm not really going to be jumping for joy with any of this bullshit, because we already understand this is still behavior we're talking about. This is still DBD we're talking about. Their track record has never been positive. Their track record has consistently been a roller coaster of stupidity, and it will consistently continue to be a roller coaster of stupidity. And it won't end. It won't end until they actually start to stay true to the vision that they have and try to actually make players matter. If you're a play killer, you should matter as much as a survivor player. But we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Consider checking out the other channels for the Video Essay channel and the Marvel Rivals channel that I've been working on some content for in the background. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. And consider becoming a member on YouTube or Patreon if you want to help, support me directly. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.